Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
All right, welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is once again Friday, July 18th, and we've got some special extended bonus programming for you on this Friday. We obviously have a show on our usual schedule, Friday upload with Payton and I, a full show, but we had to hop on again and talk about the biggest news of the summer, some of the biggest news of the year on the Mizzou calendar, Payton. Jason Crowe Jr., five-star point guard out of Inglewood High School in California, has officially made it official his commitment to Mizzou men's basketball. Felt like this has been a saga going on forever, and that's because this is a massive deal. The number 7 player in the class, number 3 shooting guard, number 5 player out of the state of California, one of the best talents in the class of 2026. Missouri coming out of nowhere in the last month, basically, to win this race for now a guy who becomes one of their biggest recruits in program history. We're going to do a little Mount Rushmore to kind of end the show, look back at some guys to do some comparables here, because I think that's an important thing to do to kind of articulate just how big of a get this is. But Payton, I'll start with you. Is this the most anticipated commitment for you, maybe since you started at Mizzou and maybe even before that? This is a huge get here for the Tigers, their first player in the class of 2026, and it's a big one in Jason Crowe Jr.
Definitely not before, because I mean you had Michael Porter Jr. and I mean Dorial Green Beckham before that. But if for those that don't know, Jack and I started at Mizzou in 2019. This easily for me is the most fun because I like basketball a bit more than football. It's probably not above Luther Burden for most people, and it probably shouldn't be. But for me, this is number one. This is easily the coolest commitment Mizzou has gotten in my time as a Missouri fan. This is a shot in the arm the program really, really needed after just the debacle that was the end of last season. Dennis Gates had to find a way to get people to kind of buy back in. They got Scotty Atkinson, a top 30 or 40 guy in the 2027 class, which already, I believe, was his top-rated recruit since he got to Mizzou, Dennis Gates, and he's had some big ones. And now, I mean, you have a guy that's top 10 in the country, according to pretty much everyone. A guy that has really just been called maybe the most dynamic offensive player in the class. And you have so many other guys that high-profile guys that you're linked to in the 2026 class. I mean, it could make the 2024 recruiting class the one with Marshall, Barrett, all those guys, Boateng. I mean, it could make that one look like child's play, and that's
Pierce,
saying a lot. Because that was such a highly rated class and a really exciting group to bring into Missouri. So it's a very monumental recruiting win. Definitely the most exciting one I've had. Kenny was joking with me. He almost wished that it wouldn't have happened because he knew I would have been really upset. But unfortunately, Kenny, you get happy Payton this time around.
Yeah, you have to do with happy Payton. And Kenny and Payton will do a show as per usual for Monday, and they'll talk plenty more about how this kind of came to be, recap some of the stuff we've been talking about when we've looked at this recruitment, which I think is worth touching on for a second here with Jason Crowe Jr. I mean, it's been such an interesting, race to his signature, one that Missouri, it was, I think Kenny said it a couple of shows ago, a few weeks ago, it would be Mizzou fans wouldn't have been remiss to not know who Jason Crowe Jr. was. I mean, this team was not on his radar and vice versa. And all of a sudden, they just come out of the woodwork. He obviously had a bit of a unique commitment and recruitment in kind of the modern sense. There wasn't a top list going into his commitment day, which is actually his birthday here on Friday. So a fun birthday present for him to be able to announce, doing it at Peach Jam as well. But, no top list with it. Kentucky was long associated. USC and Texas, I know, are teams mentioned, but, not putting out that graphic with the top 5 or anything. And then Missouri just comes out of the woodwork here, and we start hearing all these things. Tim Fuller had an excellent relationship with Crowe from AAU. His father, Jason Crowe Jr., was his coach at Inglewood and has worked with him closely, and there's strong relationships there. And, you hear these things. He didn't take too many visits, just had a really unique recruitment. But Payton, I think it can't be overstated, the Tim Fuller effect here with Mizzou's, new GM coming in. We talk so much about how important those connections to the grassroots circuit and the AAU circuit are. And you see it pay off in a massive way so quickly. You talk about a shot in the arm for a program in general. I think it's also a huge endorsement for Fuller, and the fact that they seemingly, with this first edition, nailed the GM search. And I think he played an integral part, it seems like, in landing Crowe. If you have any thoughts on his kind of recruitment and Fuller's affiliation with it and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, relationships seem to have played a huge factor here. We no doubt about it. Like Tim Fuller, I don't think can be overstated here. It's pretty clear Missouri obviously didn't just offer Crowe 2 weeks ago and then suddenly gain all this ground. It's clearly been happening behind the scenes, like you said, Jack. A very unique recruitment because you just don't hear anything from the Crowe side of things. I mean, it's just very unique. You don't see someone this highly ranked really publicizing their offers, or at least a couple visits or so.
Right.
But I mean, Kenny had a great article about Crowe and just kind of the whole recruitment process, where he talked to Jason Crowe Sr., obviously his father. And I think it is obvious here that the relationships, not even maybe just from Fuller, but from Gates and everything, have been a huge factor here.
Yeah, 100%. You have, this kind of kid, and I would highly recommend everyone go read that feature too over on Mizzou Today, because it's a good kind of peek behind the curtain in terms of who kind of the person Jason Crowe Jr. is too. He's kind of got a, it's tight-knit circle. He stayed in Inglewood, didn't go off to, any of these big kind of prep schools. You see a lot of these 5-star guys go to, really kind of trust his kind of inner circle and their process to get him to where he is, which is clearly a very high level. There's some cool stuff with Paul Pierce in there too, being an Inglewood high school product as well. So we've talked about all that at nauseum, but I recommend everyone go read that. And I think, that's important stuff here, but just, it can't be overstated what a job I think Tim Fuller especially has done already as Mizzou's GM to secure this commitment. It's a huge get. Payton, the thing we haven't talked about as much on previous shows is the game of Jason Crowe Jr. We've touched a little bit here and there, the offensive stuff and what he could maybe bring there. But I think it's time for a little bit of a deep dive now. It is a little bit more official, and it's hard, of course, at the grassroots level. You see all these highlight videos. It doesn't show you anything that, like, as much as traditional maybe watching film does, but there's still a lot to glean from him. There's so much all over the place. I mean, he's at Peach Jam right now with Oakland Soldiers, his AAU team on the EYBL circuit. Just a little bit more of his credentials. He led EYBL in the season leading up to this Peach Jam in scoring. He averaged almost 24 points per game. He's scored in high school something like 3,100 points, I want to say. I think he's like 350 off from either a state record or his own high school record with still a season to go. Like, it's pretty unbelievable. This guy just piles up points. Had a 45-point game in the Drew League, which is a pro-am league. Like, there are NBA and older guys that play in that. He's doing that as a 16-year-old. In one of his recent games, he just put up 36 against Brad Beal Elite at Peach Jam. Made a whole bunch of shots in that game. I think he had 12 for 23 from the field. So the scoring is what pops, Payton. But how would you maybe describe what you've seen from Jason Crowe Jr.? What maybe makes you the most excited about him in terms of projectability. Again, all of that is so fluid. He still has another year of school left. And I think it shouldn't be overstated either how high of a level he's competed at already. And, there's still so much room for growth still. But obviously super talented kid. What makes you the most excited when you've watched his highlights and watched him play?
I mean, it's kind of like you said. I mean, this is just maybe one of the more gifted, maybe the most gifted scorer that Dennis Gates will ever have at Missouri. I mean, there's just range. He's got unlimited range. It seems like some of the 3-pointers he was hitting in the EYBL game on Thursday against Brad Beal Elite were ridiculously deep to try and keep them in the game. I mean, he had 36 points, 12 of 23 from the floor. He gets his shots up, but for the most part, he's pretty efficient. Obviously, stepping up to the college level, especially the high major level, it's going to probably be a bit of an adjustment period for him, I'd imagine. But one thing a lot of people that are way smarter than me, real scouts out there, have said is that he definitely has the capability to be a really great playmaker. He's flashed that a bit. He had 5 assists, I believe it was, in his game against Brad Beal Elite. It's just I saw one person say, like, a lot of the times, like, when you're in this high school, you're obviously the best scoring option. Why would you pass as much? But most people seem to say he checks the box for playmaking at the next level as well. So he could probably run the point if need be. Definitely a potential combo guard for them there. I don't think he really needs to be locked in at one spot or the other, and I think that plays into just how Dennis Gates likes it. Despite the recruiting ranking and what I tweeted out of excitement when I first saw Mizzou was linked to him and saw his recruiting ranking, I really don't think he's a bona fide lottery pick. Just because, I mean, he's not a superb athlete. He's 6'3". I don't think he has super long arms or anything like that. But I mean, he still maybe has like one of the higher floors just offensively that you can find out of a high schooler. I mean, like I mentioned the range, but like you said, I believe, very tough shot maker as well. Loves mid ranges, which I don't necessarily love, but hey, if you can knock him down consistently, like DeAndre Golston would find a way to do, I'll hold back my criticism on the shot selection sometimes. I haven't seen it enough, like a ton in the EYBL games, but a lot of people do say he can get downhill and kind of drive to the basket pretty consistently. That's, I think, a big plus as well. Definitely seems like he's great at getting to the line. I mean, in every one of these games, 29 points, 16 points, 36 points at Peach Jam. All of them are coming on like 7 made shots, 6 made shots, 12 made shots. So he's getting to the line plenty. I'm sure he's a great free throw shooter as well. That's obviously something after last year I don't think Dennis Gates ever wants to shy away from again. I have seen basically nothing on his defensive game.
Me neither. It's hard to get that at this level.
Especially like in these Peach Jam, at Peach Jam, all these EYBL tournaments, nobody's going there to watch defense. So I have heard a couple good things, like just reading a couple different like scouting reports that are out there. But we obviously there's like nobody's tweeting highlights of him walling up a guy on defense. So
our screen navigation, that's the nerdy stuff. See, I need to get on. I think it's Synergy is the like community film upload thing that you can like really dive into all that stuff and watch that. That's the nerd stuff that I enjoy sometimes watching film. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you make a fun comp Mizzou wise to DeAndre Golston. I actually do think that's a really good one. I think he has plenty more shooting upside too, especially from the outside. That's the thing that impresses me. First of all, let me add, he is left-handed, so that will always get some added points in my book if you are a lefty. We love a southpaw hooper, so that's always great. I think his 3-point shot, like, he's really smooth. I mean, you can tell he's just refined it and worked on it over his entire life playing this sport. I think he's comfortable taking threes on the run, off the catch. Like, you can already kind of tell that. So yeah, the scoring maturity is there. I've been relatively impressed with his ability to get downhill, and especially like you said, with getting to the free throw line. I think that fits really well with what Mizzou wants to do. I was trying to kind of hybridize a couple of recent college guys we've seen go to the draft, and if like there's kind of a ceiling, maybe not a ceiling floor thing for him, but like if he can get the best skills of these two guys, I see a little bit of these two in him, where it's like if you can get that really elite high level, especially movement shooting ability of like a Trey Johnson. I'm not saying he's that now, but that, Trey Johnson, he led the SEC in scoring as a freshman. That's a high bar. But
I was gonna say, if we have Trey Johnson
right
on our hands, that would be something.
So, maybe it's a scaled down version of that in terms of, I think, the 3-point shooting. But then you talk about ability to get to the free throw line and being a smart driver. It almost reminds me, and you see some flashes of like a John Tonje. That was what he was so good in his All-American season at Wisconsin, was just knowing when to attack the right driving lane to, get a bump and get to the line. So like, those were two guys that I kind of think of just off the like top of my head. If you can enhance some of those skills, maybe you can kind of get that out of a Jason Crowe. But I do think it's really intriguing. He has, you're right, Payton, like some of the passes I've seen are really impressive. Consistently, we'll see how he can do it. Especially with maybe having the ball less in a college offense. I think he is very combo guardy. I'm not sure if I think he can be a true point guard, but I do like his fit as like a 2 as well. So I think there's just a lot of intriguing stuff there. And you mentioned the athleticism thing too. Like, I think his dad even said in a quote, like, acknowledge, like, yeah, he's not the most athletic guy. He's not, blowing you away in that department, but he's a smart player. And he's a tough shot maker, and he knows when to, take the right shots and make the right reads. And if he can just keep growing on that, I mean, the offensive potential is just sky high. I'm really excited. I could talk about film and stuff like that all day. And, you think of the crazy hypothetical. I think if Mizzou's 2025 season goes the way we're all hoping it goes, Anthony Robinson is probably not back for his senior season. But think about that potential, Payton. An Ant Robinson, Jason Crowe Jr. backcourt in 2026 as a senior freshman combo. Again, maybe you're not rooting for that, but that could be something, especially if Ant makes up for some of that defense stuff. I know you joked kind of like, the 2025 season, you almost wanted to go just to see, Crowe in action for the first time. But I don't know if you have any other thoughts on his play style or anything like that. A potential fit with Ant Robinson. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be like a glove. I feel like, I think that just based off my limited watching and the scouting reports I've read, that they feel like they would complement each other well. I'm not sure we'll get that. Like you said, Ant got draft buzz this past season. Didn't quite get into that bona fide first round pick buzz, so he obviously came back. But with another year of growth like he had going into last year, I don't think they're going to be able to keep him around.
Yeah, no, and that's a good thing, by the way. You want your program to be pumping out draft picks, obviously. And if Dennis can get his second in Ant Robinson, that would be very fun. The other thing I will throw out, and this is not to even be a Debbie Downer or, and Peyton, I think you're right. The floor with Jason Crowe is relatively high, just with the skills I think that he brings offensively with the level he's at. He was the youngest, by the way, the youngest player to make the first level of cuts. He didn't ultimately make the roster, but the first level of cuts for the under 19 USA team, which I believe just won gold over in, I think it was somewhere in South America. But, he was 16 competing with, guys like AJ DeBansa and Daniel Jacobson, who's that really good big, who's going to be a freshman at Purdue next year. So this is a kid that's taken the step up and shown he can compete. It does intrigue me with the athleticism stuff and how much growth he really needs to make there. It'll be interesting to see that when he gets to the college level, in that I wonder, again, you don't hope for this. You want guys to make it to the NBA. That's the hope. But I wonder if even too, there could be a potential 2-year thing with him. Maybe it's a case of, the shot making's there, but he just has to, kind of grow and get the physicality piece of it down a little bit more. I think that's definitely the most developable part of his game right now. But I've thought about that too. Maybe there's a window you have him for 2 years. Obviously you hope that's not the case, but I think that's certainly on the table too. And who knows, Peyton, maybe your lottery pick, maybe you'll be quote tweeting yourself, in what, I guess, a year plus from now, but you'll find that tweet again and quote tweet it. Maybe he will be a lottery pick. There's just so much hype and excitement and potential, I think, here with him that really intrigues me. But I have thought about, the SEC chews guys up and spits them out sometimes. It can be a case where maybe he needs to grow a little bit there, but he definitely has a high motor. And if he's a willing driver and able to get to the free throw line, those are all great skills. So there's a lot to like about him.
And I'd also say I don't I think nobody is hoping for the 2-year thing.
Yeah.
If he has to come back for a second year, I honestly would say I don't expect it to be at Missouri.
Yeah.
I think this is designed to be like a 1-year deal, and I'm fine with that. It's fun to be able to get players that want to be able to go to the NBA after a year and actually have it feel like a true possibility. So I would wager that a 2-year deal for Crowe would not benefit Missouri really. But you never know. Who knows? Really, it's just it's an exciting time to get a player like this where you can have discussions like this. And obviously, there's so many other great 2026 players that Missouri's linked to, whether it be like Chronister or Tony Bryant. Ethan Taylor, Reed. There's a lot of other names you can put around Jason Crowe to make this like a historically good class.
Yeah, that's for sure another piece of this. You go back to that 2024 class and it was so highly touted, but there wasn't a guy quite at the level of Jason Crowe's ability at the head of it. But I mean, Dennis Gates has shown he's willing to add, 4 or 5 freshmen, which is somewhat uncommon in this era of the transfer portal. And if he can reel in some of the other guys, I mean, Taylor is, I believe, the consensus #1 center on 3. Tristan Reed's a high-end 4-star. Those 2 guys are great. Chronister's a talented 4-star. So, you bring 2, if not all those guys in, you're looking at a generational class. You go back again to that Michael Porter Jr. class that brought in, of course, Jonte Porter was a highly touted recruit. Jeremiah Tillman was a 4-star recruit. I think, was that Mitchell Smith too? Did Mitchell Smith come in that 2018 class? Maybe Torrance Watson. There was somebody else, one of those other guys who I think stayed multiple years. Payton will do some
in 2018.
2018. I want to say there was another one along with
Jonte Mitchell Smith might have been around there.
I thought it was a Mitchell Smith or maybe a Torrance Watson, but so there is that potential.
This is not Mitchell Smith. I found who is that? I found a 6'6" offensive tackle that's a Vanderbilt.
What are you looking at football?
Yeah, trying to find
if Mitchell Smith was in there. So to go back, there is a lot of potential to still add to this class. I don't think it will be Crowe and no one else. I think Missouri is.
Mitchell Smith was a 2016 guy.
Was he really?
Yeah. Wow. Ancient beyond belief.
Wow. So he was. Yeah.
How
he was
old are we?
Side. Yeah, we are old. That's wild. But yes, I'm rambling. But still, plenty of potential to add even more elite talent for this class. And I want to go back to a point you made too a couple shows ago, Payton, with like the NIL piece of this. I don't know how much was factored in. I don't know what any sort of deal looks like, but you made a really good point that, if it was, we talked about some kind of fans and stuff talking about, is this just a case of you threw a bag at a guy and, he just jumped at it, whatever. First, I don't believe that to be the case based on what I've read. But to your point, too, even if that is the case, if Missouri is committing a lot of resources to getting these high-level guys, that's a good thing. And I think that shows here with Jason Crowe. But, just to re-up on that point that I know you made a few shows ago.
I could care less if Missouri threw a bag at him. I think that's awesome if they did. For the record, the 2018 Mizzou basketball class was Xavier Pinson, Christian Guest, and Torrance Watson.
Okay, so it was Watson. That's what I was thinking of.
17 was Michael Porter Jr., Jonte Porter, Jeremiah Tillman, C.J. Roberts, Blake Harris, and Javon Pickett. I mean, what a class that is.
Yeah. So, if you add to that, you could be talking kind of that next level of class that you saw in 2017. I had the year wrong by a day. Okay. So that's, I think, any other final thoughts on just on Jason Crowe Jr. and Mizzou winning this battle? I've got a Mount Rushmore that we could make as a collective to finish the show.
No, I mean, very incredible get for Dennis Gates and company. They just are recruiting at a level seldom seen for Missouri. And I really, really hope they can answer all the questions that have been asked of them on the court as well. Because I don't take this type of recruiting for granted, and I hope nobody else does either.
Yeah, certainly not at all. This is a huge get. 5-star point guard Jason Crowe. Okay, quick Mount Rushmore, Payton, because it is Mount Rushmore season still in the middle of July. So we're going to include Jason Crowe on it. Let's make a quick pantheon of 3 other guys from 2015 onward. I put a little short list from.
Yeah, I took Dorial Green Beckham off that.
Okay, because he was 2013. So we're doing post 2015 biggest recruiting gets for Mizzou football and men's basketball, and we're going to include Jason Crowe on there just because the show is about him. Should I read? Do you want me to read the short list, or do you want to make some picks right away and then we'll read all the names?
Well, 2 names have to be on there right away.
Okay.
Luther Burden is on there.
Yep.
And Michael Porter Jr. is on there.
Agreed.
Those 2 are absolutely on that list. So that's
Agreed.
3. So we're basically battling out for 1 spot. You can read the rest of them and then we can decide.
So a couple I included, I put some 4 stars. I kind of went, just a general list. I didn't pick from anything super specific. So it's football and men's basketball. I got Williams Nwaneri on there. Anor Boateng from 2024. He was the highest guy in that 2024 Dennis Gates class. Jonte Porter and Jeremiah Tillman, who are both high 4 stars.
Jonte was a 5 depending on the site.
Yeah. So,
which is really insane.
Elite recruit. The streets will remember Aiden Shaw was a very high recruit, so I put his name on there. Shout out 2015 class. Terry Beckner Jr. was a 5-star for football. A few recent ones. Javion Hilson was a 5-star, depending on who you asked, just in 2025. So that's a big one for the future. And then I threw Sam Horn on there as well as a high-end 4-star quarterback. I mean, shoot, you could throw Zollers on there if you want.
Yeah, Zollers honestly could be on there. If you want to get
recently. So who gets our third? So we have 3 spots with Crowe, MPJ, and Burden. Post 2015, who should get our 4th spot, do you think?
Tough 4th spot, especially because those first 3 I think are non-negotiable. I don't think you can argue any of those. Part of me just wants to throw Jonte on there as well, but I think I don't know, because Williams Nwaneri was a huge deal as well. I don't think I know Missouri fans may have some sour grapes about that one, and I get it. That was a big reason you've seen such a shift in recruiting philosophy for Mizzou now, the way that ended. But that's kind of hard to ignore. Terry Beckner being a 5-star. If Dorial Green Beckham had been able to be in this short list, he would have been my pick.
Right.
But
I wish I could include transfers, because then I'd probably throw Theo Weiss as the last name, maybe.
Theo Weiss was a big deal. I don't know that I'd say he was like that level of guy, but
yeah,
he was a big deal.
I'm looking to see if I missed anyone in football.
Do you have one that jumps out at you? I kind of lean Nwaneri, and I know people aren't going to like that pick, but that's kind of where I lean.
People might not like the pick. I think I'm with you. Just from, I'd almost lean him or maybe Zollers, but I think, honestly,
I don't want to do 3 basketball on here.
Right. Well, Zollers isn't basketball.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not like thinking about not going Jonte or Jeremiah Tillman.
I'm trying to separate, because you can think of Matt Zollers and Williams Nwaneri the same way. They both have never really played for Missouri. I mean, Williams Nwaneri did technically.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just in a vacuum their most exciting commits.
I feel bad that Terry Beckner Jr. was a bit before my time.
Yeah, I don't know what the excitement level was. I don't hear people talking about that one a whole time.
Could you throw Drew Lock in there? I know he was a 4-star. He was 2015.
He was a 4-star. I do feel like he was probably very hyped. Oh,
That
man,
almost feels.
see, that's tough though, because that was before our time.
So Drew Lock per his Rivals profile is the number 7 QB, number 7 pro style QB, number 1 in the state. He was the number 1 in the state of Missouri. That could be a safe bet.
It's tough because I believe he was also a legacy guy.
Yeah.
So that helped. So I don't know how much suspense there was for that. It's interesting because Michael Porter Jr. was obviously before our time too, but people talk about that around Columbia.
Yeah, it
lingered.
Yeah, it lingered, and the Waneri buzz was so big. That was so big when that was happening.
Yeah, I think I got to just stick with Waneri.
We'll go with Williams Waneri. That'll be our last pick.
Yeah.
So post 2015, if you have a different 4th pick, because I think those first 3 are locks. I think you have to, if you're including Jason Crowe, obviously. So there you go. There's a quick Mount Rush for your Mount Rushmore season. So there you go. Jason Crowe Jr. is a Tiger. It's officially official. We will still talk about it. Kenny and Payton will have even more, I'm sure, to break down for Monday's show, but wanted to just jump on, talk about kind of our thoughts on the tape and just finalizing the commitment now that it's all in the books. So there you go. 2 episodes for Friday. Go listen to the last one. We previewed the commitment, but we also talked about SEC Media Days for football and all the news and notes that kind of came out of that. So still worth a listen. If you want to jump over to that, we will sign off. Payton and I, Kenny and Payton, will be back with a show on Monday. See you then.